Hi everyone. Good morning. I hope you are able to hear me. Can anyone please confirm?
Hi, Bhaskar sir. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you. So let me open the file and we just started talking about column family charts, and we're going to see how we can do formatting and yeah, let's see. Now it is open. So I wanted to do first formatting of the visual. I just kept what is required for y-axis and what is required for x-axis in the chart. Now we need to format y-axis and x-axis. So what are the formatting options that we're having that we are seeing here? Okay, so let's come to here. I'm just selecting whatever the visual you wanted to format it. Select that visual from the page or from the design surface. And we have an option here, formatting. When you hit on this button, you're going to get the format section. So in the new version, we are going to have a separate pane for making a format. If you're having a older version and older look and feel, you can find somewhere here, you can find the formatting options. Format and properties, you can have it. But if you have this kind of look and feel, if you have this kind of look and feel, then definitely you're going to have a separate pane for formatting. Just observe here, I'm just minimizing this. Visual and properties. So here I wanted to go with x-axis. So whatever is required will come across them when the time comes. In this particular case, we don't need to talk about size and style. I just wanted to go with the x-axis first. When I expand this x-axis, what options we're having here is, in the x-axis, you're having a values, title of the x-axis, and the layout. Just ignore this layout and just concentrate on the values and title. So values means this one. Okay. Now you can see here, these are the values and this is a title. So title is the English education and this is the values. So two sections are there here. If I switch off these values, then you can see values are not getting displayed. If I switch on this, it is getting displayed. The same way title also, if I switch off this, then it is not showing. If I switch on this, then it is showing. So title is not required for x-axis because the title of the visual is saying sales by English education. So when it is showing like that, then we don't need to show this title here. Just switch off this title and I'm just going to increase the size of these values. Just observe here. We have a option. You can go here or you can specifically enter the number, what number they wanted to take it. So here for just readable, I'm just giving 15, but mostly we can go either with 9 or 10 up to 11. Depends on the user requirement. We are going to increase the size of the text. And whenever there is a text, 100% there will be font family and font size. And you want to go for bold, then you can switch on this bold. You can see here how it is. And if you want to go for italic, you can go for italic. Or if you wanted to go for underscore, you can go for underscore. So it's all depends on the requirement. We can do formatting of the text. So wherever there is a formatting, just have a look on it. The same options will be very much common. And if you want to change the color, you can change the color. If you want to change the color, then you can go and change the color also if you wanted to do it. You can see here. So I wanted to go with the black only. And just leave it rest of them at this point of time. So what I did here, I just increased the text size. I just increased the text size. And if you want to change the font family, if they're having any specific font family, then we need to take that specific font family. So most of us are aware of Word, or most of us are aware of Excel, or most of us we are aware of PPT. The way you're going to do formatting of the text in all these places is very much similar when it comes to even Power BI. So I did for x-axis. Then do the same thing for y-axis also. Just minimize this x-axis. Now you can see there is a y-axis. Expand this y-axis. So what options are there here? Title. So basically I don't need this title here, as I'm having a sales by education in the title of the visual. So I'm just going to switch off this title here. If I really require, then I can keep it. So I don't need that, so I just taken out. And the values, if I say, if I switch off, no values are there, but definitely we required values. Otherwise, you cannot understand what is the volume of the bachelor's sales. And I wanted to increase the same size, whatever the size that I have given for x-axis, the same size I wanted to give it to y-axis also. Let's take a 15 here also. And rest of options are very much similar. And if you wanted to have it different types of display units, you can have it. So I recommend you to keep auto display units. Depends on the volume of the data. It is going to take a millions, thousands, and so on. And if you wanted to show always none, then you can also go for none. But mostly we recommend you to go with auto. And decimal places, if you wanted to have a decimal places, then you can also specify decimal places. And if you want to change this axis position, if you want to change this axis position, you can change if you wanted to do it. I recommended to have it in the left side only. If at all, if they need to swap this y-axis position, then we can change by using switch axis position. So this is how we are going to do formatting of the y-axis. And so doing a formatting for x-axis and y-axis is very much common for all the charts which are having x-axis and y-axis. So I hope you're with me. So whatever the chart is having a x-axis and y-axis, all the charts are going to have a very much similar options to format it. And then I wanted to format this title of the visual. This title of the visual, you can see if I switch on this, no title. If I switch off it, if I switch on, then title is there. Let's expand this title. Whatever the title you wanted to keep it, you can type in this place. You can keep the title. So I wanted to say sales by education. You can change that name. And you can have a same font family. Say go UI I'm taking. And let me keep. So 15 is a common for all of them. So I'm just going to keep 20 here so that we can have a differentiation in it. And I'm just making this bold. And if you wanted to have a different text, you can keep a different text. And text color, background color, if you wanted to keep, you can have a, I'm just going to have light background color. If you want to keep little more light color, then you can just go with more colors. And you just move this here and you can see how it is getting. That's all. So if they give a color code, then you can directly enter the color code. We don't need to worry about it. So if any business is having their specific color codes, then they're going to share with you. Those color codes only we are going to use directly here. We don't need to select from our side. If they're not coming there, if they're not coming with color codes, then we are going to take the appropriate decent colors. Okay, so it all depends. Okay, so once you have done some report development, they may come up with the changes that we are going to do it. Even I'm doing one of the report presently for data engineering. So the colors, when the moment they say if they need any changes in the colors, if they need any changes in the chart, they're coming up. Okay, so they may not have a complete idea at this particular point of time. If that is the case, then once they have seen something, then they are going to come up with. But 90% of the places we are going to have a requirement. So that means they're going to come up with the plan. So what chart they wanted to see, what numbers they wanted to see, or what size of the data they wanted to see in the report, they will come up with the plan. So very less chances only they're going to have it's not a, if it is not a business report only, it is going to be happen. But if it is a business report, 100% is they will come up with the plan. We don't need to worry about it. We have to worry about how can we design the dashboard. We want to how many visuals they wanted to show and how we can control the visual visibility. That is from our side. Now I did few things here. So what I have done is I have done x-axis formatting, y-axis formatting, and title formatting. I wanted to give a border for this visual. You can see here when I move the cursor, you can see the border. But if I take it out, border is not coming. I wanted to keep a border. To keep a border that is available in the size and style. If I expand the size and style, just ignore all of them. You just concentrate on this visual border. Just switch on this border. Now the border is going to be there. You can see here. If at all, if you require a border, then you can keep a border. Otherwise, we don't need to keep a border. There are varieties of the ways to have a border. We'll come across that. But the direct option which is provided by Microsoft is this one. And if I move the cursor here, it is showing English education, bachelor's, and this it is showing some values. This entire thing we can call it as a tooltip. This entire thing we are going to call it as a tooltip. But I don't want to move the cursor, but I wanted to see the number. What is the value of this bachelor's? I cannot imagine it is having 10 millions because it is less than 10 millions. It's not exactly 10 millions. So I wanted to see what exactly it is. So if that is the case, then we are going to use the data labels. So data label is also is one of the option in the formatting section. We have seen completely this one and partially only visual border. We have come across size and style. Title we have seen. And now I'm just going to take you through this data labels, how we can show a data labels in the chart. Select this one. Expand here. You can see data labels by default it is in off mode. I'm just going to on. So when I on, then you can see the numbers on the top of column. If I wanted to format the text of this data labels, then expand this data labels. And what options are there? You just observe. Under this, under data labels, I have a options, title. So just leave it title. I wanted to concentrate only on label, that is values. So I'm just going to increase the size for this up to 12. Let's go with 13. So 9.9 millions is there. If you want to change the color, you can change the color. If you want to change this display units, you can change it. Presently, it is having a one decimal place. And if you want to increase one, if you want to keep one more decimal point, you can keep it. And if you want to, if you take out this decimal point, then it is going to show 10 millions. That's not going to help. So we need to have a decimal place. By default, the chart is going to have a decimal when you switch on the data labels. So labels is going to say exactly what volume of the data is there for that particular column. And if you move the cursor, the tooltip is going to give exact number, but it is going to give the nearest number. So 9.9 million is okay instead of having 10 millions. So this is how we are going to do formatting for this particular chart. Any question as of now?
No, sir.
Okay. And then, so this is a column chart. We have seen this particular option. This part we have seen. If I wanted to have a clustered column chart, if I want to have a clustered column chart, how exactly it is going to be there? Let me give this one. Let me open a new page. It's a brand new page. It's empty page. Nothing is there. I wanted to show here the same to same is going to be there, but in the y-axis I have a sales that remains same as we have seen in the first chart. In the x-axis education, it is same. So here I'm having a subcategory. That subcategory is like this one I wanted to show male, and this one I wanted to show female. So that means how much sales is generated by gender. I wanted to see that. So education computers is generating some sales here. Just observe here in the chart. Yeah. So in the bachelor's is showing some generating some sales. That is 9.9 millions. But I wanted to slice this by gender. What is the total amount of gender male? For male, what is the total of the sales? And for female, what is the total sales? I wanted to see that. So if that is the case, then how you are going to do it? At the same time, I wanted to compare, is male generating more sales or is female generating more sales? Who is generating more sales? That I wanted to see. And if you observe this particular chart alone, we can say Parcel High School is generating the least sales and bachelors are generating more sales. Okay. And when you bring this gender also into this particular chart, how exactly it is going to behave, we'll see. Let's come to here. I'm just redesigning again. Just observe how I'm going to use the existed visual in a different ways. Let's take a data mode, and I'm just going to take a clustered column chart. Expand this for entire page. I'm going to take a sales. And I'm going to take a education and gender. So when I select the gender, it's going to come like this. You can see here. I told you when you have a column chart or any chart which are coming from a column family or bar family, you're going to have a x-axis, y-axis, legend, small multiples and so on. We have seen that. So here I wanted to rename this column as education. You can rename it. And in y-axis also I wanted to make this as a sales. You can rename it. And gender is there in the legend. And just leave everything. Now I have a data is like this. I wanted to do the formatting. So like this, my report is having, just imagine, around 50 visuals with multiple number of pages. Just imagine. If I go and take each and every visual, doing formatting for x-axis, formatting for y-axis, formatting for the label, formatting for the title, all those things are going to be time-taking process. So because of that reason, Microsoft having their own feature that was it's not a new, it was very old feature, formatting painter. So you can use the formatting painter across all Microsoft tools. In Word it will work, in Excel it will work, in PPT it will work. In many places they have a formatting painter. So by using that formatting painter, you can handle that. Just observe here how I'm going to use that. If I select this visual, the same format I wanted to apply for my other visual also. So if you want to apply same format for other visual, then you can see here in the ribbon, you can find there is a format painter. It's a painter. So by using this, I can take the options of formatting, whatever the formattings that we have done for this visual. The same thing, I can take a copy and I can apply for my a new visual. Just observe how I'm going to do it. Select this format, just hit on it. Now you can see it is having a paint symbol. Let's go to this page and move the cursor here. You can see this was not applied at this point of time. When the moment you hit on this visual, it is going to be applied. Now you can see. With just 2 clicks away, we can reuse the existed formatting. 98% in some places, 100% we can use the existed formatting. I didn't do anything. It was already applied for one of the visual, the same formatting that I'm just bringing and applying for other target visual. So this is one of the interview question. Format painter. It is used to bring or copy existed formatting of the visual and can be applied same formatting for target visual. So here and it's an interview question is I have a visual which is applied various formattings. I would like to apply same formatting for other visual within the same report. How can you do it? By using format painter, we can reuse existed formatting. That's all. So that is very, very frequently we're going to use it. Now, if you observe one more thing here, I have done x-axis formatting. I've done y-axis formatting, but there is a one change that is not happened. That is legend. So where is this legend? The legend is there here. This is the legend. So I wanted to apply a format for that. So in my previous chart, we have not used the legend. Because of that reason, the legend format is not taken. So the default formatting of this particular visual is having. So I wanted to increase the size. Just observe, select this visual. So whenever you wanted to do format, you just hit on this section, then you can minimize that. Let's go to the legend. If I switch off this legend, then you cannot see that. You cannot understand what is this color representation is missing here. So if you want to get the color representation, then make sure we need to switch on this. By default, it is on. Okay, so I'm just going to increase the text size. Just observe. I'm just going to keep up to 13. That's all. Now just observe here. What you can understand from this chart is this entire thing is a one category, that is bachelors. I told you whatever is there in the x-axis, that is treated as a category. And we are not comparing bachelors versus partial college. We are not comparing that. We are comparing female versus male. Who is generating more sales? So that we are comparing it. Now, if you observe here in this particular case, female is generating more sales and male is generating less sales when you compare with female. In the same way here also, more sales by female and less sales by male. Here is also the same, is less. But when it comes to this high school, male generating more sales, female generating less sales. And again, when it comes to the partial high school, female generating more sales and gender male is generating less sales. You can see the slight difference here. If you observe, there is a slight difference you can find between them. If you see these numbers, you may feel both are same, but if you see the chart is giving exact answer. Who is generating more and who is generating less. By seeing this particular chart, we can say gender female generating more sales across all the categories except high school. Does everyone agree with me?
Yep.
So this kind of analysis is going to be taken care by business users. We don't need to worry about it. But I'm just trying to give a explanation how they're going to handle it. So by seeing the data directly, they cannot understand. But by seeing the chart, I'm sure they can easily understand it. Observe, this is a data. If I ask you, is which education or how the sales is there, if I ask you to compare is generating by gender based on the education, if I ask, then it's very difficult to say the answer because here I have thousands of records. This is not readable, whereas this is very much readable. So report is always readable for everyone, including ourselves. I mean to say Power BI developers. We are a developers, but even for us also, report will give more answer for us when you compare with the data. So insights are 100% is required for every business. Because of that reason, we required reporting. So reporting is required for every business. Without report or without analysis of the business, they cannot increase the business or they cannot grow in the business. So this kind of things only we are going to do it. So this is about the clustered column chart. We are trying to compare the data by gender. So this is a subcategory, we can say. Gender is a subcategory. So even if there is no subcategory also, we can use the clustered column chart to visualize in Power BI. And if you have a subcategory, then we can also use a subcategory to show as part of the lesson. And I have taken this existed formatting and I applied it, right? So what I will do is I'm just going to take the same formatting of this visual. I can take it directly, copy and paste it. You can see there is a copy this visual and go to other page and paste it. So like this also I can reuse the existed visual. If I wanted to use the existed visual, then you have to copy and paste the existed visual. And if you want to use the existed formatting, then we have to use the format painter. I wanted to take out this gender. I don't want to compare by gender. I wanted to do it by, I wanted to compare two measures. Let me take a total cost. Total product cost, I wanted to keep it. You just drag and drop into this bucket. Okay, so sectioner bucket we can call. Just drag and drop into this. I wanted to say here is cost. Now, when it comes to here, the title is missing. I don't need this title. Legend title is not required because they are the metrics. Sales is a metric, cost is also metric. So let me go to this formatting section and switch up the legend. No, I need to have a legend, but title is not required. Expand this legend. You can find there is a title, just switch off this title. That's all. And increase the values text size. That is 13 only, that is fine. Now you can see. So now also we are comparing sales versus cost for category. So that means I mean to say here, this is a subcategory and this is a category. And this is a category. Again, this is a subcategory. Because we are comparing sales versus cost. Okay, so when you have a subcategory, then make sure we can use cluster column chart to visualize the data. So where exactly we are going to have this, I mean to say, when exactly we are going to keep this legend fields here is, just observe. The cluster is going to be formed. This is a cluster. Cluster means group of items. Here I'm having a item 1 and item 2. Two items are there. So this group is going to be formed when there is a more than one measure in the y-axis. When I'm having more than one measure in the y-axis, then this group is going to be formed. Or the group also is going to be formed. The group is also going to be formed when there is a field in the legend. So in these two places, this column chart, the cluster column chart is going to have a cluster. The column chart is going to have a cluster when there is a more than one field in the y-axis. or when there is a field in the legend. So let me write that point here. Just keep a note here. Cluster column chart will show cluster. That means collection of items. Only with the following options. One is when there is more than one field in the y-axis. More than one field means we can say measure. So what is a measure? We'll talk about when the time comes. A measure which can be used to measure the business. Okay. At the time of dimensional modeling, we'll talk about what is a measure and what is a dimension, what is a fact, fact table, all those things. The second is when there is more than, sorry, when there is a field in the legend. If legend is there, if legend field is there, then we cannot give more than one measure in the y-axis. So when there is a more than one field, when there is a field in the legend, we cannot keep more than one measure in y-axis. Just observe here. Here I can keep it because I don't have a legend. Legend is empty here. Legend bucket is empty. But when I go to the clustered column chart 2, this is having a legend field that is gender. If I'm trying to keep one more measure into this place, it's not going to allow. Just observe. I'm just trying to drag and drop into y-axis. It's not allowing. You can see here. I need to get the line like this. The thick line you can see here. It is enabled. So I can keep this. I can try to bring into the x-axis, but whereas in y-axis it is not allowing. It's not allowing to keep it here because when the moment you see a field in the legend bucket, make sure the y-axis allows only one measure at all, one measure only. So it will not allow more than one measure. That is what I'm just trying to say here. Okay, is everyone clear? Can you please confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir. So,
Yeah. Okay. So in the same column family, there is another chart that is stacked column chart. The next chart is stacked column chart. It is used to compare the numbers or metrics by category or by subcategory. So purpose of this chart also is very much similar. The only thing is when there is a subcategory, column will be saved by subcategory items. Okay, just observe how I'm going to do it. So here you cannot find any difference if I go and take either. Now just observe, this is a clustered column chart. When I move the cursor here, you can see the tooltip, it is showing clustered column chart. In the same way, there is a stacked column chart, you can see. If I hit on this also, it will not show any difference. When there is a only one measure, when there is a only one measure and I mean to say one field in the x-axis and one field in the y-axis, I don't feel any difference if I select the stacked column chart or clustered column chart. It is very much similar. But when you go for this one, if I wanted to have this in a stacked column chart, how exactly it is going to be there is, let me take a copy of this visual and go here and paste it. Control V. So I wanted to say it is a stacked column chart. It's a stacked column chart. I wanted to do it. But again, I don't want to take this chart and I don't want to formatting, painter, all those things also I don't want to do it. We can have a one more different option to convert from one type of visual to another type of visual. Now it is a clustered column chart. I wanted to convert this into stacked. So if that is the case, then just go and hit on this. So whatever the target visual that you wanted to convert, just select that and hit on the specific visual from this list of visuals. So I wanted to convert from clustered column to stacked column. Just observe. I wanted to keep two visuals here so that you can see the difference between them. Let's take a copy and paste it. I'm just adjusting them with bubbles. You can see. Now this one I wanted to convert into stacked column chart. Just observe here. When I hit on it, now you can see. So here the columns are getting side by side. In clustered column chart, the subcategory items will come side by side. Let me keep that point also here. In clustered column chart, subcategory items will come side by side. Whereas here in stacked column chart, subcategory items will share part of the columns. So that means this entire thing is one part. As we're having two items in the lesson here, so two parts is going to come. If there is a three parts, then this entire column is going to be saved by three persons or three items. As I'm having two items here, this column is getting saved by two items or two parts. So this is a stacked. It is getting saved. This column is getting saved. So because of that reason, the same part is getting saved by multiple items when there is a subcategory. So that we are going to call it as a stacked column chart. So in the stacked column chart, if you observe the stacked column chart more for comparing for category. We can compare the data by category when even if there is a subcategory when you have a stacked column chart. If you see exactly here, you feel these two are same. But the accurate answer you are going to get here. Gender female generating more sales, not same. But the stacked column is saying both are same. Because if you see the chart, you don't feel there is a slight difference here. Until unless if you have a side by side. Even if I switch up this labels, you cannot give the answer here also. You may feel there is a just 1.1 million is different here. So when you see the chart, most of the times I recommend, I mean to say the users are always more interested uh, to say the answer without seeing the label. Okay, in some situations, definitely labels are important uh, when there is a less chances to give the answer, then labels will give the answer. But you just imagine if I switch up this labels, it's tough to give the answer which one is generating more sales and which one is generating less sales. It's difficult because labels are not there. But in this case, even if I switch up the label, I can give the answer. Okay, so some places labels are important in some places. Basically, if there is no possibility to take a or to give the answer or to understand, then labels are important. So in this particular case, labels is important. But here we don't need label here. Without seeing the label, we can give the answer. So label is required to give the exact number, what number it is having. Okay. So customers or business users are more interested to give the answer by seeing the chart itself, not with the numbers. Okay. That is one thing I wanted to say. And then we have a one more chart that is 100% stacked column chart. It is used to compare numbers or metrics in the form of percentage. In the form of percentage, it is going to do it. Make sure there should be at least two measures or a field in the legend. So otherwise you cannot, there will be no use of this stacked column chart, 100% stacked column chart. So just observe here. I'm just taking this chart. Let's take a copy of this and paste it here. So I'll keep the three visuals and you can see the difference. And this is going to be stacked column chart. Let me keep one more visual here. So this one, I'm just going to hit on 100% stacked column chart. If I don't have this legend, then every value is going to show 100%. There is no use of this chart. So if I wanted to undo it, I can do undo. Now, if I say when there is a legend when there is a field in the legend, then there is a meaning for this chart. So in the bachelor's, female is generating 51.27% and 48.73% is 48.73% is by male. So to give the exactly who is crossing 50% here, we can draw a line, a constant line here. Okay, just observe how we can do it. Go to the format section. Reference line, just expand this. Switch on this line. I wanted to say 50% is not 50.5. So 0.5 when I take, then it is coming. Let me take a different visible color. Yeah, now you can see. And if you wanted to go for line style and width also, the many changes they have given previously. These many changes were not there. And scale by width, not required. Just leave it as it is. And if you want to increase this line size, you can increase, make it visible. And position, if you want to keep behind, then you can keep behind. And if you want to keep in front, you can keep in front. And this is giving somewhere data label also is there. Now you can see how much percentage we are having here. Okay. Now just observe. So when you see this chart, we can understand in all the places a female is generating more than 50% except this high school. We don't need to see these numbers to give the answer because we have a reference line at 50%. Okay, so this kind of charts that is going to be expected from the business. 100% is stacked column chart. Okay, so that's all about column family charts, and in the next session we are going to talk about bar family charts. How we are going to do that, we are going to see in the next session. Any question, guys?
No, boss, sir. All good so far.
Okay, so start doing the practice. I wanted to see from each and every one. These three charts, I already gave the data in the classroom. Just try to build the similar kind of look and feel. And if you want to go with the different colors, you can change the different colors. It's all up to you. But I'll see you whether you started doing the practice or not. Okay. Okay, then I'm stopping here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining.